Hello, my dear Scorpios. This is your astrological forecast for the upcoming month of March. Let's see which are the main events that bring major changes in your lives. So we start the month with a full moon on the 7th of March. It happens at 16 degrees of Virgo. And for you, Scorpios, this falls in your 11th house, according to the whole sign system. Well, full moons usually bring some awareness, realization, how things are going exactly in this particular area of our life. Besides, this full moon might bring culmination of some projects, processes, events that you have started around the last new moons in the same sign. That is around the 27th of August 2022 or the 7th of September 2021. And 11th house talks about several topics of life. First thing first, it concerns our friends, a group of like-minded people, whether in the clubs we're joining, in some organizations, NGOs, political movements, social causes, maybe some volunteering projects and activities, something that you do together with other people, something that might be beneficial for the society, for instance. So maybe we're talking here about some common project finishing. Maybe you're presenting something with your team. It might be your co-workers. It might be that you become popular in internet if you have some online activity, because 11th house is also our public image and the people who follow us, our followers. Maybe you make some concert or some presentation with a choir or with a group of people that you are just attending the same course of according to your interests, or maybe you're having an exam together with your classmates. This full moon makes two aspects. It squares Mars, your ruler, by the way, still in your 8th house. So there might be a bit more feeling of hastiness, tension, irritation, possibly with your friends, for example, or with people with whom you collaborate and work. And it might concern some common resources, budget planning. Yeah, 8th house is the money and the resources we share with someone else. In this case, maybe business partners, or maybe it's about your business with your clients. So you will feel the urge to do several projects at once, yeah, because Mars in Gemini, basically all the past 8 months, because Mars represents you, Scorpios, so you tend to feel more distracted, maybe more hasty, more tired already, because Gemini wants to try many things, communicate, share, discuss, multitask. So it's cool to become more flexible and adaptable and communicative, but at the same time, it might be a bit draining because your ruler Mars likes to have some clear focus, while with Gemini, you want to do many things at once. And in this case, yeah, be careful of conflicts with collective, with a group of people with whom generally you are on the same terms and you kind of like each other. But maybe there will be more passion, for instance. Yeah, 8th house is about intimate relationships. So maybe some of your friends will become something more than a friend. Or maybe you will be fighting together for some common money, resources, sponsorship, business ideas, presenting them possibly to the world. At the same time, the good news is that this full moon makes a trine to Uranus in Taurus in your 7th house. So actually your one-to-one partners, your business partners, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, someone very close to you, especially if it's a Uranian type of a person, if it's innovative person, original, out of the box, progressively thinking, avant-garde people, will support you, will help you in your maybe online activities or gaining popularity. Maybe it's going to be your client that gives you excellent feedback that you can use to spread your influence. Maybe it will be some IT specialist, some astrologer, some consultant who will help you think out of the box somehow. Yeah, Uranian type of a person who will drag you into the future, basically, yeah, who will help you change, become more authentic, and possibly that's how you will find the true authentic friends. Maybe you will become even disappointed by people who normally surround you, support you, and so on, but in this case you will decide to be more vocal, more honest with your ideals, with your vision about the world and life, and only the most loyal and the most true supporters, people who are really like-minded, your tribe, will stay with you. But very likely there to be some passion as well with someone of your friends. The same day, 7th of March, we have very important transit. Saturn enters into Pisces to stay there for the next 3 years until February 2026. Saturn is a very important planet as it's so slow. And Pisces for you is your 5th house. There is a good news that Saturn leaves Aquarius, which was your 4th house, from where Saturn was squaring you, Scorpio, whether your sun, moon, or rising sign. By the way, if you want to listen to this whole in-depth, full interpretation of this Saturn transit, including the retrospection of the last 3 years for you, please check on my channel the video Scorpio 2023. I uploaded it around December last year because it's a forecast for the whole year now, 2023, with all the major shifts of planets from your perspective. I discussed their specific degrees, time frames, so I recommend you this video if you're Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising sign, to check it out. Now Saturn going into your 5th house of joy, fun, pleasure, romantic activities. You see how interesting coincidence here. 5th house is the fun of pleasure, basically, of life, of love, of talents. And Saturn is a bit of a heavy, grumpy planet, to be honest. He is what we can call party pooper, but he's not just doing it out of some meanness. He is just a very serious guy who wants to make us organization. He's the kind of cleaning around the mess, if there is any. He wants only the real deal to stay with you in your life and get rid of everything superficial. Of course, in 5th house, then we're talking about serious dating, about maybe less suitors and less Tinder swapping, maybe. Swiping, but at the same time you will be looking for something long-term. Saturn is the planet of time. Maybe some older partners might appear in your life. Saturn is the planet of older age as well, maturity. Definitely you will be looking for someone not childish but quite serious, reliable, mature. So yeah, Saturn tends to slim the chances in a sense that he's streamlining. You have to focus only on the most essential, in this case, people, possibly with whom you would like to have children. By the way, the 5th house is also the house of our children. So in this case, maybe if you have already grown-up kids, they might become more Saturnian, more mature. They might decide to take life under their own control, in their own hands, moving out, finding a job, starting a career, a business, a family, becoming parents themselves. Saturn might break your illusions here, whether about your children, about your romantic partner, about your hobbies. It's going to be a bit harder to have fun overall, but you Scorpios you are very deep people generally, so I don't think you will tragically suffer this Saturnian transit through your 5th house, because anyways you want only the serious and committed relationships and stuff. Regarding hobbies also, Saturn here will frame you. On one hand, if you are some artist that listens to me, maybe you will feel a bit more lack of inspiration, lack of creative spark, this sudden inspiration, out of the blue. impulsiveness. Saturn is against this kind of frivolous things, but at the same time, he might help you to turn your long-term passion and hobby into something of profit, into a business, into a serious production. And the key word here is serious and long-term. So, you know, if you're a painter or writer, then it's going to be more about habit. It's going to be more about daily efforts in order to sell your work, for example, or organize exhibitions, or, you know, becoming famous and successful. Usually those are the words we associate more with Jupiter, popularity, because we are likable, but Saturn is respect. So whatever you're doing with what you love in 5th house, whether it's a hobby or already a business, here Saturn will make you much more organized and strict and self-disciplined about it. You will have to be more responsible either towards your hobby, business, children, or relationship. By the way, regarding children, if you are trying now consciously with your partner or with other methods like IVF to procreate, to have children, then look what happens here. Saturn is a karmic planet. If in these 3 years you are having a child, whether you plan it or not, then it means that it's a karmic deed. It means that the soul of this baby wanted to join this world with you as a parent in this lifetime, in this society, in this country. Because it means that this soul wants to learn something from you and teach you something, right? This is kind of karmic relationship. And I'm convinced that all of us, our souls, are previously choosing, not randomly, it's not by accident, exactly the time period, the society, the country, the family, with the family karma and patterns, and with our parents to be born with, in order to experience from early age something particular, which initially might support us or break us, and then we fight our way anyway. So yes, karmic babies might come here to some of the Scorpios. On the other hand, if again you're a couple, family, a person who tries to get pregnant, and in these 3 years Saturn might delay this because he's a cold, dry planet generally as characteristics. So maybe there will be like less passion or less opportunities. Maybe you'll have to do more preparation, examinations, you know, think carefully whether you're ready, whether you want this child, whether this is the right partner and circumstances for you. Each case is really separate, different, but generally speaking, yes, Saturn either gives you something as a karmic lesson, something that first might feel even as a burden, or you know, some challenges to overcome, something to teach you. Saturn is the great teacher, basically karmic teacher. Or on the other hand, he might delay things. So maybe if you are planning an exhibition or some development of business, launching something, then Saturn will ask you to seriously, carefully prepare. Remember, his cycle is 30 years. So now he finishes something about this 5th house topics that were around you, or that you started 30 years ago, or you're just starting now something like a hobby, business, passion, a relationship, giving birth to a child. And of course, it will be with you as a care, as something to dedicate your life to for the next 30 years. If we talk about arts, then they better be applied arts. Really, Saturn likes something schematic, like a scheme, something more with related to construction, maybe some kind of a design. Maybe you will be interested in applied arts, in sketching, in drawing, like black and white. Black is the color of Saturn, and something practical. Maybe you will do pottery, something out of clay, out of stone, marble, you know, this kind of Saturnian materials. Be aware that while Saturn transits the house of the ego, the house of the fun, joy, childishness, you might feel that you are lacking this natural inspiration, motivation, fun. Don't get stressed about it. It's just a transit that is meant to teach you more responsibility. And if you feel like unloved, unaccepted, as we said, a little bit more lack of inspiration, then it's rather the time to put more conscious patience, effort, practice. Maybe you'll discover some talent of yours, but it will require from you more dedication and practice in order to master it. Saturn likes to become a master parent, master spouse, and a master in your hobby and business. Nothing superficial will do with Saturn here. If you are already in a relationship with someone and there are some crooks in the foundation of it, then Saturn might break it apart and take it as a liberation. On the other hand, Saturn might bring you someone very reliable, responsible, mature, and serious into your love life. Then on the 21st of March, we have a new moon at 0 degrees of Aries, following a couple of just hours after the big astronomical and astrological holiday, the spring equinox, the beginning of a new cycle for the sun throughout the 12 zodiac signs. But the new moon is on the 21st, 0 degree Aries. That might be your 5th house or already your 6th house. Check it according to your natal chart where the 0 degrees Aries falls in it. So if it's 5th house, then something new in all these previously mentioned topics: new love, new inspiration, romance, new talent you might discover, you start new hobby, new stage in a relationship with your children, or news about or from your kids. Or if it's a 6th house, then we might talk about some new beginning at work, new colleagues, office, new professional project or idea. Maybe also 6th house is about routine and health habits. So maybe you will be starting some new diet or exercises, starting some research about your health, because this new moon conjuncts Mercury, so it might involve more communication, documents, papers, examinations, research, news. Maybe it's going to be a work trip or trip with your loved ones, with your kids. Also, this new moon conjuncts Neptune, so it might be related to some new dream. You set yourself a new goal, which is based on some maybe inspiration, fantasy, or dream. Let's say if your dream was to become a parent, maybe there you go. The news is about pregnancy, or you start some new creative project or hobby. Right. Oh, this also this new moon squares Mars, kind of same hasty feeling like from the beginning of the month with the full moon on the 7th of March. So a bit more stressful might be for you, related to finances. Maybe it's a passion related to your love life, 8th house. Maybe you are proactively looking for sponsorship or finances towards your hobby, or your hobbies are related to 8th house topics, economy, finances, shared resources, psychology, occult science, occult knowledge. And this new moon makes a positive aspect, a sextile to Pluto, which makes it even more powerful, makes you more concentrated on your goals, more energy, more vitality, more focus. Interesting thing is that Pluto, your modern ruler, is at 29 degrees Capricorn at this moment. 29 degree, whenever a planet passes this degree of any sign, there is a bit more stress. The planet feels in rush to wrap up, to end the program of this sign in order to soon enough pass to a new territory, like we go to a new country or to a new level of studies, but first we have to complete some exam according to the previous topic. But Pluto is a very slow planet, so he will be entering and exiting several times, this 29 degree of Capricorn, so there is still no such rush. I just say that there might be this feeling like the last push. We have to conclude something related to your 3rd house. So 3rd house, maybe in the past 15 years, while Pluto was transiting all this sign of Capricorn, you are starting, or now you want to finish some educational project, something related to moving, logistics, documents. Maybe you're trying to open your own small business, third house, something related to online education. Maybe you were considering learning computer science or computer languages. Yeah, third house is all sorts of media communication. Maybe now you are trying to launch a PR promotion campaign, marketing strategy, do something in a small group of people, small team, maybe launch an application, a website. So now Pluto is like, okay, it's finally time to do this, to finish this project, right? Might be related to communication with your siblings as well. And Pluto likes to, first of all, clean as well. He's the big cleaner, so cleansing anything unnecessary, anything superficial. He wants the real deal, and he's a business and financial planet as well. So there is a lot of focus on the business topics here for you, I think. And then on the 23rd of March, there is a huge event. Pluto goes into Aquarius for the first time in something like 240 years. So we're lucky to witness this transit. Pluto will spend in Aquarius the next 20 years, but due to his long retrogradation periods, as I mentioned, he will revisit a couple of more times till the 29th degree of Capricorn. But this time he will dip his toe in Aquarius for a couple of months, from 23rd of March till 11th of June. And this is very significant for you. First of all, Pluto is your own ruler. So on a global scale, because he's so slow that of course you don't feel him every single day and hour of your life, you see Mars, your traditional ruler, is way faster through signs, so you can change more your attitudes and moods according to Mars transits. Nevertheless, I think on a global scale, like your general vibrations and interests in the past 15 years were according to Pluto transiting Capricorn. So maybe you were much more uptight, much more serious, much more strict with yourself and others, much more critical, by the way, towards yourself and others, wanting a social status, wanting achievements, wanting respect from the society, wanting to be like the head of the family, the godfather, you know, taking yourself very seriously like a Capricorn, having your goal and slowly but surely climbing up the mountain to achieve the peak, you know, Everest, the goal. Because you're very dedicated, Scorpio, and you are fixed signs, so you're very obsessed with what you want, and Capricorn is the sign of achievements, success, and very traditional as well, keeping up with the patriarchal expectations, traditions. Maybe you were dealing with family patterns, with something you took as a sponge when you were a kid from your parents, maybe even mostly your father. But now from March and even further for the next 20 years, Pluto will transit a new sign, right? Aquarius, which is an air sign. So it's much more about communication and society and ideas and ideals rather than solid achievements of the earthy Capricorn. Aquarius is your fellow fixed sign. So guess what? You will be very, very stubborn, very, very fixated. But in this case, maybe not so much about possessions, belonging, status, but more about your visions, your ideals, your ideas, and you will look for like-minded people. Capricorn can be a solo guy because his idea is to be the best, to achieve a lot in the world. Aquarius rather acts for the benefit of others and with the support of others. So society, like-minded people, friends will be even more so important in the next 20 years. So prepare to collaborate, prepare to work a lot with groups of people. You will have to find your tribe, truly your tribe. You will stop pretending being someone else that you are not, because Aquarius demands honesty and authenticity. Only this way we can find people that will equally want the same that we want and support us, right? So also you will become maybe much more unconventional, kind of Capricorn, if Capricorn wants to keep the appearances and traditional family and so on, then Aquarius is more about maybe trying the hippie life or anything that is out of the box, anything that right now could be seen as a rebellion, actually. So be careful, Scorpios, not to become just rebels, kind of out of stubbornness, just to prove to the world that the world is wrong and you're right, you know. So try not to become too dogmatic, because you might become just like the Holy Inquisition, kind of fighting for your ideals and ideas. So yeah, fixicity will be quite a lot of here, fixed energy, but as well some desire to progress, to develop, to evolve, whether through modern technologies. Maybe you will be much more into online activities, freelancing, yeah, sharing resources with others. And live in some kind of community or work for the better of the society and community. And also, if you are especially rising sign Scorpio now listening to me, you should know that Aquarius is your 4th house. So Pluto will be bringing possibly at the beginning some changes, even maybe some crisis situations. I would call it even with a word that is very familiar for you, a rebirth of you, of a new you, through digging into your past. 4th house are our roots, family matters, anything connected to the heritage of the country where we were born, the history, the culture, the family patterns. So I think Pluto, on one hand, is the digger. So he will want to excavate some memories from your past. You will be reconsidering some attitudes, some family patterns, secrets about family and parents and ancestors can come up to the surface. Maybe you'll just discover through a DNA test your connection to some interesting cultures, countries, societies, people. Maybe you will discover that you have some roots in as well, some interesting different culture that you thought of. You know, you are a deep sign. Pluto is your ruler. It's a very deep planet, doesn't like anything random and superficial, and wants to reach the truth, the naked truth, and nothing but the truth. So basically, yeah, with your 4th house, it's about self-exploration. It's about working with the past memories. There might come to the surface some painful memories. Yeah, Pluto is a tough guy, so he works first with fear, with stress, with shame, with taboo topics. So maybe you'll have to admit something like this from your family history, and then it's about working with it, accepting it, somehow integrating it in your life, forgiving, letting go. You know, there are different stages and different processes. While Pluto transits your 4th house, is a great idea to work with a therapist, psychotherapist, including as well psychological astrology, what I like to do as well, or even tarot cards, or anything that can open up for you your inner subconscious levels, especially your shadow side. But also you can work with regressionists, yeah, doing some regressions in past lives, or constellations. Very useful here with this transit to do family constellations. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. So, of course, such changes might go in those 20 years through your family. That's also almost normal. There might be, you know, new members of the family, children being born. Of course, on a very material level, you might be reconstructing your property, especially paying attention to Plutonian locations like basements, toilets, bathrooms, pipes, you know, the garbage stuff around your house, maybe reconstruction, getting rid of some pests you know, infiltrations. There might be some situations that would put you unease at home, that you wouldn't feel safe enough, because Pluto usually it's about the instinct of self-preservation. Pluto might give you these fears that, you know, there is a stalker next door, or you know, someone wants to destroy my home, or I have to fight with the government or something, taxes. Yeah, because remember, Pluto is also about finances, not only psychology. Maybe you're taking a big mortgage in order to buy property, to relocate, to maybe you will go abroad. Yeah, Pluto usually uproots people, so he will take you out of this you know, family nest, let's say, and put you in different conditions where you'll have to maybe test your strength. Pluto usually tests our strength, in this case through some family issues or through living situations, where you live, how you live. So relocation is very possible, reconstruction of home, purging physically something from home, maybe old furniture, old memories. Working with the relationship with parents, definitely, or grandparents. Fighting for control at home, fighting against manipulation, fighting against these phobias, paranoias, the feeling of insecurity where you live currently. And separation, evolving and separation as a human being, separating from your parents, from any sort of feeling that they owe you something, you owe them something, feelings of guilt, shame, frustration, traumas, you know, growing up as an adult individual, already strong enough to cope with your life on your own. Accept your vulnerabilities, accept your insecurities. Yeah, Pluto first would like to maybe suffocate them, and you will try to look tougher than you are actually, but the real effort here is to discover your needs, your soul, to come to some terms with them and with the past. Pluto is the planet of alchemy, and here in the 4th house there will be a very deep internal emotional alchemy, rebirth of yours for sure. Also, maybe we're talking about Pluto doing business with properties, real estate, home, selling, buying, renting properties, doing Airbnbs, yeah, buying property for investments. Also I would like to mention that eventually in all those 20 years, Pluto will square your ascendant-descendant line, and this will mean big changes in your environment, habits, relationships, attitude to your body, health, right? So really big, maybe initially stress, but also 180-degree change, maturation. Again, when Pluto squares ascendant descendant, you're changing, or you're realizing the truth about your closest people, whether you can have faith in them, whether they're loyal. You know, marriages might pass through some kind of transformation. Truth comes on the surface about you, your needs, your partners. That you might meet issues of jealousy, control, power struggles in relationships, but also it might mean some business relationships or some very passionate ones. If Pluto will be squaring your sun, then you might feel first like you're lacking control, that someone disempowers you. You might feel like, you know, fight or flight syndrome, this self-preservation instincts. There might be change of your status, change of your direction of development and growth. Pluto might make you very uncompromising, very powerful, ruthless even in some sense, so be careful here. Very ambitious, really, at the very least, very ambitious, maybe trying to overcome some control and power struggle, maybe even coming from the resistance of your family and parents about some of your life goals. If Pluto squares your moon, it might be emotionally tough, but anyways, that means that that your moon is already in Scorpio, so you know very well all these topics I just mentioned here briefly, the Plutonian Scorpionic topics of insecurities, of fear, of paranoias, of jealousy, of control issues. And yes, Pluto might enhance them in this year and a half, maximum 2 years, in which he will be squaring your moon, but it's all for the best. It's all for you to process these feelings, to acknowledge them, to admit them, and to work them through. You know, Pluto is usually scary because people don't like to face the truth. But we Scorpios, we deal with this all our life. It's the ups and downs. Those are the constant changes. And yes, while Pluto transits your 4th house, you might feel that there is no stability, that there is one house, another house, one rent, another rent, turmoil, relationships maybe with parents and so on. But it's like the work of a surgeon has Pluto, you know, to spot where is the wound, open it, cut it out, what's like malformation or what's rotting already, in order for the wound to heal in a good way. So at the end of this transit, yeah, you will become really self-empowered. Definitely you will regain back your autonomy, your power, your self-control, your faith in yourself, authenticity. Be very clear with who you are and what you want to achieve in this world, and you will be literally unstoppable, I believe, like completely like the phoenix birth, yeah, burned and transformed in this life. And dear Scorpios, very important month for you, it seems so, because on the 25th, your other ruler, Mars, finally changes sign, finally passes from Gemini, where he was the last 8 months due to his retrogradation as well here. So from this scattered energy of Gemini into your fellow water sign of Cancer. So for the next 2 months and a half, 2 months, Mars will go through Cancer. You will feel more Cancerian, so to say, more emotional, more gentle, more oriented towards family matters, more protective of your home, parents, children, family. Yeah, my home is my castle. Maybe a bit more self-defendant, like you want to protect yourself as well. So be careful with this concept of Cancer putting the shell around himself and not letting anyone see the true soft nature of Cancer. You can become more sentimental for sure in those next 2 months. And for you, Cancer falls in your 9th house. So Mars is where we put our effort while he transits our natal charts, horoscopes. So you will put much more effort into 9th house activities, studying, traveling, being in front of audience, being on some social events, deciding what is your life purpose, life mission, life direction and goal, seeing clearly the big picture. Definitely communication with people from different cultures, with teachers, with inspirational figures, with gurus, or you will become such person for the society, for others. So dear Scorpios, this is how March looks like for you. I wish you an empowering, interesting, beautiful month. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, my dear Sagittarius. This is your astrological forecast for the upcoming month of March. Let's see the main events from your perspective. Well, we start the month with a full moon on the 7th of March at 16 degrees Virgo, and this is your 10th house, very prominent area of your chart, and you will feel it the most if your MC, the career point, happened to be around the 16th degree Virgo. Full moons usually are moment of peak, culmination, rewards, celebrations, and it's something related to your professional duties, your role in the society. So you might shine on some award ceremony, conferences, receiving a higher position, opening your business finally, because full moons, usually it's something that we become aware of, or we reap the rewards of our own efforts. By the way, these efforts might be connected with something you have started, planned, like, planted the seeds around the new moon in the same area of your life, in the same sign. And these dates would be 27th of August 2022 or 7th of September 2021. So let's see what you will be now like finishing, wrapping up, or celebrating related to that it has started maybe then. It might be related to your status overall, I would say, as well, because 10th house is about how people see us, our surname, our social standing, profession, family relations. And look at that, this full moon squares Mars in your 7th house. So first of all, it will be a bit more agitated, hasty, passionate full moon, and there might be some conflicts even, so try to avoid confrontations with 7th house, with your partners, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, close relations, or even your business partners. Maybe here there will be some activity. Maybe it's a competition even that you are winning, and hence getting your promotion and your higher position at work. Maybe it's a fight with a partner and decision to divorce. Maybe it's effort. Yeah, Mars is not necessarily about fight. It might be about passion, or it might be about being assertive with clients, with business partners, in order to achieve something. And this full moon actually makes a positive aspect, a trine to Uranus in your 6th house. So if we still are talking about profession, career, and work, Uranus wants you to modernize your work approaches and activities, projects, maybe involve more applications, online, internet, remote activities, maybe work more with the IT department, hire some IT specialists, make a website, something like this of an agitation it might be, but Uranus wants originality, freedom, diversification. Maybe you need to delegate more tasks to your employees, new office, more modern equipment, also change of your daily routine. Maybe there is actually an engagement for you, a wedding, something that you pushed through, with Mars. It's more about being decisive and angry about it. It's like, finally, let's do that. And suddenly your lifestyle, your routine changes somehow. Maybe it is due to a divorce. But Uranus will bring you this feeling of finally liberation, freedom, whatever the case is. Maybe you are quitting job and becoming a freelancer. Well, on the same day, 7th of March, we have an important event. Saturn passes or transits into the sign of Pisces after the last 3 years going through Aquarius. And in Pisces, he will stay the next 3 years till February 2026. This is your 4th house. So it's very important transit here of the planet of discipline, of control, of good organization, of maturity, and testing. Saturn is the reviser guy, the auditor. So, and 4th house are our foundations, roots, relationship with our family and ancestors, the feeling of security. And Saturn healer will check very carefully. Do you have the proper basement and foundations of your life, emotional strength as well, even within you, your home, your family? Is it the real deal? Is it built on proper qualities and, good moral code and values and so on? Or there are some crooks? Because if there are, Saturn will rather destroy it to the rubble, to the bottom, so you can then start building anew and build something way stronger and of better quality. So you will be asking yourself most probably all those 3 years the question, like, where is my home? Where do I feel secure? What do I want to build as a property, as family, as foundations, as legacy someday to the world. Saturn is a dutiful planet, is about responsibility and duty. So maybe you are becoming a parent, a head of a family, or you need to take care of your parents, grandparents. You might need to take a mortgage, because Saturn is all sort of long-term commitments and investments. So maybe this is how you suddenly feel older, more mature, more responsible, because you start repairing or building a property or a family. Saturn likes to narrow down things, streamline. So either you're throwing away your old accumulated cluttered belongings like furniture and so on. You get rid of old property, maybe you're selling. Maybe because you are in the process of construction or reconstruction, you initially have to go back to live with your parents, grandparents. Suddenly you are all together in a smaller space, right? So Saturn can make you feel a bit more like uptight and claustrophobic in some sense, in some places, or just many people in the same place or smaller apartment. Maybe because you're moving abroad, you're looking for a better job, you initially need to live like with lower kind of standards, because Saturn is he likes the most essential things, and sometimes the most essential things in the 4th house can mean just the 4 walls around you, so there is no rain and wind, yeah, but otherwise it's like rather rustic environment. Maybe you'll go to live to the countryside, open a farm. So, you know, suddenly there is a lot of physical work. Saturn likes natural materials like stone, like wood. Yeah, maybe you would literally build a stone house, you know. Saturn is also about personal boundaries. So maybe he will ask you here to revisit your past, your memories from the past, meet again your parents or ancestors, family, in order to build more mature relationships with them, like adult with adult, you know, build boundaries, stop the manipulations there, stop the feelings of you must, you have to, the feelings of guilt, and so on. You know, they say that if you think that you owe something to your parents, you rather owe it to your children. Yeah, so maybe you will be working with a therapist, psychotherapist, or using psychological astrology or esoterics, any sort of science and expert people who can help you deal with your past, have a more mature insight of like your inner world, your emotional world, organize it better. Maybe it's about time to forget, forgive, separate from parents, from their patterns and way of seeing the world. Maybe you'll realize that you have some kind of fear of money, fear of getting rich, fear of building relationship because of something that comes as education and patterns from your parents and family. Saturn in the 4th house might teach you a very good self-discipline. Maybe you'll have a business, a work related to property, home business, family business, real estate, construction, architecture, something like this. And while Saturn transits your 4th house, inevitably he will be making a square to Sagittarius. So depends who is watching me now, either to yours, it's going to be a square to your sun or moon or rising sign. So if Saturn squares your moon, you might feel emotionally more drained, more lonely, like, you know, no one understands you, like there is less chance to fulfill yourself emotionally and satisfy your needs. Yeah, the moon is our needs. And in Sagittarius, it's often about fun, traveling, studying, growing, expanding, while Saturn wants to shrink and to stay with the basics and most essential things. So also moon is a mother figure in your life, home, nutrition, how you feed yourself, the inner child. So yes, with Saturn squaring a moon, either you become a parent, or there is some change in the place of living, really reconstruction or smaller place of living, or simply somehow more protected, maybe with fences, with walls. Maybe you're building a garden with walls in this moment. And yeah, some work with a mother figure in your life, possibly. It's good to take care of yourself, of your health. Elderly women in your life should be more careful with their health as well during these transits. If Saturn makes a square to your sun, which is your vitality, here you also might feel a bit as well less lower on energy. You might feel restricted by somebody or someone, some, circumstances, like, you want to study and work, but you have to take care of your grandfather or something like this. Like Saturn can block a little bit your ambitions, put some challenges, basically, make you a bit more unsure and insecure. But it's a test. It's a test for your goals, for your dedication to your goals. What are the true and reasonable and somehow realistic goals? Saturn is a big realist. He's not a daydreamer. Neptune is in Pisces for many years now. So Neptune might have put some mist and fog into your, dreams, desires, self-image, relationships, and so on. And now Saturn comes here to put some order and put you to the ground, basically ground you a little bit, indeed. If he will be squaring your ascendant-descendant line, both of them, then he may be testing your relationship, your marriage, your spouse. Are they strong enough? Are they reliable enough? Are you both mature enough? Are you on the same level? Do you have the same goals and vision for the future? Or there are, again, some crooks in the foundation of your relationships. Again, Saturn might bring here just older partners, more status partners, teachers who are maybe a bit more criticizing, for instance, but they drag you professionally, they push you to develop professionally, to have aspirations, ambitions. You might feel suddenly like a person who actually cares of the social status, of the opinion of others. You want to achieve higher positions, you want to be respectful, to build a property, a home, a place of living, a family, like some kind of becoming an adult person, basically, with real adult life. By the way, even in more in-depth, I discuss all the most important transits of 2023 in my video, Sagittarius forecast for 2023 on my channel. I uploaded it somewhere around the beginning of December last year. It's a more than 1 hour long video, but there you can find out more about Saturn transit, for instance, here. Okay, now for this month, March. On the 21st of March, we have a new moon at 0 degrees Aries, which might fall in your 4th or in your 5th house, according to Placidus system. So please check where 0 degrees Aries falls in your natal chart. If we talk about 4th house, then of course a new moon in 4th house might bring some new ideas about family, about relocation, about home, property, some new family member. And if we talk about 5th house, there might be new love, new inspiration, new hobby, new business idea, new romantic relationship. This new moon is conjunct with Mercury, which implies much more talks, communication, documents, paperwork, decisions, maybe traveling around, moving in, moving out. And also it connects with Neptune in Pisces, which is about realizing some dream of yours, some longing, some maybe even living or going at least to holidays near water or somewhere on the nature, or doing some spa retreat, something like this with family or loved ones, with your children maybe. Maybe you'll decide to do some regressions, constellations, especially, when Saturn transits your 4th house. Eventually, you might work with such professionalists who will help you strictly realize your relationship with parents, Maybe you have been so far a parent to your parents, and now it's time to take off this responsibility of your shoulders and start living your own life finally. Yeah, something of this nature. Now, about the new moon on the 21st of March, it also squares Mars in Gemini, just like at the beginning of the month with the full moon around the 7th of March. Here also we will feel more agitated, more hasty. Maybe there will be more confrontations or need to be assertive with your spouse or partner, business partner, maybe. Just try to avoid conflicts, of course. And this new moon makes a sextile, a positive aspect to Pluto. So Pluto at least will give much more dedication and focus. And his energy is very uncompromising and ambitious. Pluto is at this moment at 29 degrees Capricorn. Any planet at 29 degrees of whichever sign feels a bit more stressed, like there is no time enough left to conclude, to finish, to wrap up the lessons, the projects, the programs of this particular sign and part of your natal chart. But Pluto is a very slow planet, so he will be still a couple of times more in and out Capricorn, the 29 degree. So there is still time for the last push, for the last wrapping up. In this case, it's about your second house. So maybe for the last 15 years, while Pluto was transiting Capricorn, you were trying to establish your own business, to be more independent at work, to be more like respectful, powerful regarding work and how you make money. Maybe you're trying to do some investments, or you were just researching. Pluto is a great planet to have a deep analysis and research of the situation. Maybe you were studying finances or studying psychology because you want to do some Plutonian profession like researcher, financial analyst, consultant, psychologist, astrologer, anything related to occult sciences, business. Do some big purchase. Yeah, second house is how we earn money, but also how we spend them. So maybe now with Pluto in the 29 degree, you will be okay. Finally, I have the resources. I want to buy this. Maybe it's a property, maybe it's a land. Yeah, maybe it's something for investment. Something big is going on here. Maybe it's working on your self-esteem. Pluto in the second house might shake your self-esteem. You might need to find the true source of love and faith in yourself, not the superficial ones, not what the manager says or the team leader says, how they evaluate my job. No, you have to be comfortable enough to evaluate your own efforts. And Pluto wants you to gain your own power, basically, at work and regarding self-love as well. But then on the 23rd of March, Pluto makes a historical move. He transits into Aquarius, where he will stay for the next 20 years. But because he's so slow and he oftentimes retrogrades, or half of the time he's retrograde of his movement. So yes, he will be coming back to this 29 degree of Capricorn still a couple of times. But this piece of time from 23rd of March till 11th of June, this time, it's like really Pluto digging or dipping his toe into Aquarius. So we all will feel personally and collectively what does it mean, Pluto in Aquarius, for the next 2 decades. And it's your third house. Yeah, Pluto will move into your third house eventually. Pluto is the planet of big changes and transformations, initially through maybe some crisis of consciousness, in this case, crisis of thought, but then he just wants to empower us at the end of the day, because third house is how we think, how we communicate. So Pluto here will change your thinking patterns. I advise you to buy yourself a lot of these books or audio guides of self-development, of thinking positively, of the law of attraction, you know, Joe Dispenza, Jay Shetty, Wayne Dyer, Gabby Bernstein, all these speakers, Louise Hay, right? Of course, try to avoid the charlatans, but Pluto will know. Pluto in the third house will immediately know who talks the right thing and who talks just the BS, you know, because Pluto is the great investigator, and he is with a great intuition and the smell for, you know, rats and so on. So you can rely on kind of your thoughts, but avoid paranoid thoughts, please, because Pluto at the same time can be very obsessed with something. So you might have this, I call them chewing gum thoughts, monkey mind. So obsession with some particular fixed ideas. Be careful with that. Try to, that's why I'm saying, buy the books of the real motivational speakers and authors, because in the next 20 years, you will be able to do miracles with your thought, with your mind, with the power of the mind. Pluto is power. Third house is mind, thoughts. So you have to be very careful and filter all the unnecessary information, all the negative stuff, all the victimhood mentality. Look how this is related to Saturn transiting your fourth house, like what your parents taught you. Can you achieve something, or doubting constantly yourself? Because here will be very important. You will have this laser focused mind, concentration. So it's important what you concentrate on, right? I advise you to study something. It might be Plutonic studies, really, like, as we said, finances, business administration, study for secret services, for police, for, you know, all sorts of power structures. Being maybe in forensic medicine, studying medicine generally to be a surgeon, maybe studying occult sciences, magical practices, but only the white one, only the positive one. Really, overall working with your mind. Now your mind will be your main power of tool of power, basically. Try to avoid manipulations, fears. You will be very convincing. Pluto, sometimes through force, sometimes through knowing other people's weaknesses, desires. Pluto can be manipulative. So here, your speech, your thoughts. Oh my God, if you're a journalist, if you're a researcher, investigator, if you publish a book or something, it can be so impactful. But you have to aspire always to be truthful. Yes, because third house is what we talk, and Pluto eventually will uncover secret information. That's why I say, if you're investigative journalist, you will have a great success. You can write about business. You can be an auditor, but be careful with this obsessive compulsive disorders, you know, to be obsessed with something, one particular, or someone, or some topic. Be careful with this kind of stalkers online, because nowadays third house is all this social media. And on one hand, you can join groups of astrology, of psychology, online therapy. You can do you can work as an online consultant, right? But yes, be careful with people who are obsessed with you online. Self-control, self-focus, self-training of your mind, fantastic. Your business might grow and expand here. Pluto is about the big investment, big money, big, you know, audience. So if you have a blog, if you are a teacher, if you publish something in the media, PR campaigns and so on, as far as they are, once again, positive and truthful, and you don't hurt or manipulate anyone with them, then you will achieve really, really huge success with your, let's say, online or small or media business, or maybe trading. Yeah, if you're so far trading within your community, now it can grow to online fame and popularity, and so on. Right, so And you won't be attracted to any superficial knowledge or fake friends. You will surround yourself maybe with few selected, chosen people that you can trust. You can trust them, for example, for business or to chat, to have a group therapy or something like this. No superficial information, no unchecked information. You will be checking your sources very carefully. Yeah. Then the last transit I want to mention today is on the 25th of March. Mars finally exits your 7th house, Gemini, after spending 8 months here, and goes into your 8th house. So Mars is passion, drive, motivation, conflicts as well. So far there might have been these conflicts with your partners or clients or institutions, maybe even a court case. So now 8th house is more about this intimate relationships with people that you normally trust. Maybe there is a need to be honest, to be straightforward, to be assertive with your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, intimate partner, or your business partners as well. Maybe there is a need to be more pushy in a sense about your sponsors, investors. Yeah, 8th house is working with other people's money, resources. Maybe you will be fighting for inheritance, fighting for alimony with a former spouse. Maybe not fighting necessarily, maybe just being proactive and assertive in those fields. If you want to build your business, there might be much more passion in the intimate sphere of life for you. Be careful with operations, yeah, because 8th house might be related to surgery, and Mars is a sharp object as well. It's gonna be just 2 months here in Cancer, so make the best of those 2 months regarding achieving some proper result with passion, motivation, and ambition about joint finances and resources, business, and maybe more passion in the private life. So dear Sagittarius, this is how I see March for you. I wish you a powerful, interesting, exciting, and positive month. Enjoy it, take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, dear Capricorns. This is your astrological forecast for the approaching month of March. So let's see, Capricorns, how this month looks like from astrological point of view. We start the month with a full moon on the 7th of March at 16 degrees Virgo. For you, this is your 9th house, and full moons usually are culmination, endings, reaping rewards, and 9th house sometimes talks about events, social events, popularity, being in front of an audience, finishing a diploma, a course, graduating, getting a certificate, showing your knowledge. So all of this might apply to you. Culmination in international relations with someone from abroad, traveling, a project abroad, something international here, or at least gaining more clarity about this area of life. Maybe meeting with a guru, with a teacher, with someone that inspires you, some expert, or you showing yourself like this. By the way, it might be an end of a process that you have started, initiated, or at least thought about around the new moons in the same sign. The previous two were around the 27th of August 2022 and 7th of September 2021 as point of reference of some process that had started then in your life and now wrapping up, finishing in the 9th house. This full moon will feel quite agitated and hasty, even I would say, because it makes a square to Mars in Gemini, in your 6th house. So maybe all these studies, requalification, talking to law department, having some court cases, traveling around is related to work, to business, to foreign colleagues, to change of an office location. And also all this knowledge conferences, travels definitely might change your daily routine, your regime, how you take care of yourself. You might be like just having the feeling that you're running around like a Duracell rabbit on this Duracell battery, just doing a lot of tasks at once. And of course, this kind of hasty multitasking might be just bringing stress and nerves. So just try to be more focused and organized, and you will be able to do a lot of work, basically useful work. Maybe you just have to combine now studies and work, or traveling, learning a language, improving your professional skills. The good news is that this full moon makes a trine, a positive aspect, a trine to Uranus in your 5th house. So actually you might get support in your business, especially if you want to modernize it, to launch a website, an application, to be original, innovative in what you do as a business or just as a hobby. Your hobby might help you to deal with all this tension and professional agitation, especially if your hobby is related to astrology or technology or science. You might meet someone special, like, someone who will become a romantic partner, who will be very Uranian, or maybe you are already in a relationship with such person, maybe a foreigner, from different culture, background, religion. So yeah, a relationship with such person might appear in your life. Maybe there will be some interesting, surprising news by your children, or a news about children in your life. On the same day, 7th of March, Saturn goes into Pisces, where he will stay for the next 3 years till February 2026. Saturn is your ruler. So, he's a slow planet. You see 3 years in each sign he spends. And every 3 years, you are kind of changing a bit something in yourself, in your life attitude, in your character, behaving according to the sign that Saturn transits. And if the last 3 years Saturn was in your fellow sign of Aquarius, he also rules Aquarius in traditional astrology, and you were more into communication, socializing, social projects, mental activity, very stubborn. Yeah, Aquarius is quite a fixed sign. Maybe you were working in group projects, collective ideas were very important, social benefits. Maybe something more scientific you were doing, or something more related to online, internet, but you were more in your brain rather than in your heart. And now suddenly Saturn goes into a mutable water sign. So first of all, mutable, so you won't be anymore so rigid, so strict about your vision, your ideas, your ideals. You're right, you won't be so dogmatic. The next 3 years, much more adaptable. Actually, you will be surprised how you can be so yielding, so soft according to people's moods. Even you will feel so much better. You will become more emotional, more empathic, more intuitive. Those are all the traits of Pisces. Maybe you will be suddenly interested more in arts rather than in science. So you are going now more towards your heart than your brain, not so practical and pragmatic. If Aquarius was more like, okay, what can I do on social level, governmental or NGO level to help? Yeah, maybe you were working for some international system and company. And now suddenly Pisces is more like, I want to relax, I want to go on an island, I want to meditate, I want to go to a retreat, to spa. I will rather pray for the well-being of the world, without organizing some strikes and rebellions as your ruler in Aquarius could do. So yeah, much more artistic, sensitive, adaptable, maybe a bit more confused as well about what to do next. Rely on your intuition. And for you, For you, Pisces is your third house. So Saturn transiting third house generally means that he will be organizing your thoughts and influencing your way of thinking, of speaking, writing, expressing yourself, studies, your closest environment might be here scrutinized and audited. Saturn will audit what you're reading, studying, writing about. Saturn is a serious planet, no superficiality in communication, no wasting time on unnecessary social events. The group of people with whom you're working might be now smaller, but of more reliable, loyal, quality people. Try to avoid pessimistic, self-criticizing thoughts, as Saturn is like so serious and oftentimes so realist, which is not bad, you know, to have a realistic approach to life. But not to go to the darker side of it, right? So because Saturn might infuse in your head thoughts like, am I good enough? Will I manage? I'm not yet prepared. No one loves me. No one respects me. What should I do? You know, such things like self-pity and negative thoughts here must be avoided at all cost, because you can really be very well disciplined in your mind. So try to focus your mind on something more useful for yourself. Saturn is a practical planet, so try to study something which you can usefully apply for your work, for instance, for your career growth. Learn some practical skills and knowledge. Planning long term. Saturn, you know, I mean, everything I say about Saturn is actually not a news for you because it's your ruler. So you are donated with Saturnian qualities by being born a Capricorn or with a lot of energy in the sign of Capricorn. So definitely planning, being ready to be a marathonian, not a sprinter. So long run ahead of you, long education, long courses, not a crash course. It's not Mars here. Saturn wants serious, disciplined approach every week, twice a week, doing your homework step by step, maybe smaller steps, but definitely without giving up. And make yourself a good routine. Saturn motto is less is more. So, you know, like less papers around you, less books, maybe one notebook, but the one subject maybe you want to focus on, but master it. Saturn wants you to master your skills, knowledge, subjects, your business if you have such small business. Maybe clients will be less, but loyal and constant. And be very truthful about what you think, what you say, because there will be criticism maybe towards you if you're a writer, a blogger, if you publish something. Yeah, Saturn might bring you this critics around you, so you have to be ready to defend your ideas and theses. You'll have to focus, you'll have to prioritize. If you will travel, maybe there will be less running around, less hastiness, less travels, maybe only business travels or mostly business travels. And yeah, stay realist, basically. You won't be over optimistic. You should not go into pessimism. But focus your thought on what you want to achieve, and Saturn will give you the endurance and dedication to your goal. But first, it's important to have this mental goals, right? Maybe write yourself down a diary, very constructive here to have a notebook, a diary with plans, with tactics and strategy, how to execute your plans. Then on the 21st of March, we have a new moon at 0 degrees of Aries. Check where in your natal chart falls this degree of Aries, if it's 4th or 3rd house. Because if it's 4th house, this new moon might bring some news about family members, some new ideas about home and property. And if it's your 3rd house, there might be some news about business, from your siblings, about your vehicle, logistics, traveling, documents. This new moon will be quite agitated one, as it conjuncts Mercury, so a lot of talks, communications, meetings, travels, and it squares Mars, just like at the beginning of the month with the full moon on the 7th of March. So try to avoid conflicts at work, but at the same time there will be a lot of energy to do your daily tasks. Maybe you're doing home repairment, moving out, moving in, boxes, furniture, and so on, contracts with the new tenants. So yeah, there will be a lot of activity here in those areas. Good thing is that this new moon also conjuncts Neptune, which means that things are going according to your dreams. Neptune is to have a vision, a dream, ideal about something, somewhere to relocate, somewhere to live, some information to learn, course to take. Also might be Neptunian. And also this new moon makes a positive aspect, a sextile to Pluto. Pluto at 29 degrees of your sign. Yes, dear Capricorns, for the last 15 years, Pluto was transiting you. And of course, you did not feel him equally intense every single day or month. Mostly when he was transiting your sun, moon, or a rising sign. And now any planet you see at 29 degrees of any sign feels like it's time to make the last push, feels a bit nervous, a bit stressed, like go, go, go. We have to finish here Plutonian, Capricornian topics before Pluto goes into Aquarius, which, by the way, will happen now on the 23rd of March. A very important transit of the slowest planet with which astrology works at the moment. But because Pluto is so slow and half of the time he's retrograde, so even after the 23rd of March, that is already on the 11th of June this year, he will be back in your sign for a while. So overall, Capricorns, Pluto will be agitating the 29th degree of your sign for the last time in the autumn of 2024. I'm just saying it because if now around this new moon, around the middle and end of March, you feel like you urgently have to finally do something, finish something, it depends on your personal situation, whether it's selling, publishing, compromising with something, cleaning, cleansing, doing some operation, yeah, because it's your first house. So it's something about your personal projects, plans, relationships, health, attitude to your body, your environment. And Pluto is a massive planet, so it must be something very, very important. And you are not the same after a Pluto transit on your sun, moon, or rising sign. But don't worry, this feeling of the last push, the last chance of something will accompany you from time to time. And for the last time, it will be with you in the autumn of 2024. Some kind of a very deep personal transformation. Maybe it's about healing. Maybe it's about changing completely your style, your gender, your place of living, your family, you know, marrying, divorcing, establishing a business, quitting a job, something of this nature is finishing now. And yes, let's now talk a little bit about Pluto transiting Aquarius for the next 20 years. That's going to be your second house. By the way, you really can find on my YouTube channel a video about Capricorns 2023. It's more than a 1 hour long video with an in-depth forecast for all this year. So you can rewatch it several times throughout the year. And I discussed there very meticulously every important transit like this of Saturn and Pluto. We mentioned now here about March too. So Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years. Well, Pluto is a planet of something like earthquakes, shaking up your feeling of material stability and foundations, because this is second house, income, resources, work, what we buy, what we spend on, where we invest. The second house is also the self-esteem, the personal boundaries, the feeling of my body, my clothes, how do I dress, how do I position my body the way it's safe and comfortable, how do I nurture myself, and self-love and self-respect, right? So yes, initially Pluto might bring some changes, so to say, or instability in the work process. It's like a volcano, Pluto, you know, so there might be ups and downs, high highs and low lows regarding income, salary, work. So maybe from time to time you will be changing job, will be unemployed, or changing profession, or maybe you will be trying to establish your own business and learn from trial and error, you know. But Pluto never gives up. Pluto is about finding your own power, your own confidence, self-esteem, self-control. Maybe you will have to find self-control regarding work if you are a workaholic, or you will have to find self-control regarding spending if you are impulsive, compulsive shopper and buyer, because Pluto is all or nothing, black or white. So be careful here to, you know, with your finances, not to be one day a millionaire, second day a bankrupt. Even though Pluto will require you some big investments or working for some large projects, big businesses, government, power structures, try not to get involved with the underworld, with the mafia, because this is also Pluto. You might work in Plutonian topics like finances, business, control, research, occultism, spiritualism, psychology, definitely. You will be thinking with Pluto here, due to different circumstances, what is the most important thing for you, prioritizing your values, building your value system. What's on the first place? Family, health, old family, children, parents. Maybe it's about having adventures in life. Do you want to be a freelancer? Do you want to work for someone else? With Pluto, there might be some control issues, power struggle, overloads at work, you know, fighting for survival in a sense, or fighting for your rights. So maybe you will prefer to be independent, actually, independent consultant, for instance. Pluto might bring you big money. Really, you might work with big money in the bank, for example, investing, helping others invest, or you might just make big money with work. But I'm just saying, take care. Don't forget to here relax as well from time to time and take care of your health. And work on your self-esteem. Pluto might take to the spotlight any sort of insecurities and fears related to poverty, to money. Maybe you'll work with a psychologist about overcoming kind of wrong ideas about being rich, about being in the business. Maybe it comes from your parents, from ancestors. Maybe they were hunger or deprivation of some sort, or maybe people just didn't trust business and money. Maybe in your family there is this wrong concepts about dirty money, or you have to work very hard and always save bigger part of your salary for rainy days, you know. So it's up to you to decide whether it's true or not. And try not to fall into financial dependence on someone, because remember, yes, Pluto might be about someone taking control over your life until you yourself take this control back and be self-empowered. But in this case, Truly, it might be someone who provides you with money. So yeah, maybe you will decide to be vegetarian. Yeah, you will change some kind of eating habits in some sense to feel overall healthier and better. Right, so the last transit for March is of the planet Mars. Mars usually goes 2 months, 2 months and a half in a sign, but he was for the last 8 months in Gemini, in your 6th house. And now finally he goes into Cancer. Wow, into your 7th house. So try in the next 2 months to avoid conflicts with partners, with spouse, with close people. There might be some, of course, legal disputes, because 7th house is the court cases as well. There might be some attacks from your open enemies, which won't be a surprise. At least Mars is quite straightforward planet. No secrets here. Maybe you need to be more assertive with your partners, with the business collaborations. Maybe you want to cut off some people, some contracts. So you see, Mars is like a sharp objects, like scissors. So you finally will have the chance to cut off a document, contract, some deal and agreement. Or on the other hand, maybe your partners will be very pushy, very assertive, very energized in order to kind of take you on their side, to sign something, to strike some deal, you see. So yeah, there might be some kind of verbal confrontations, let's say, but at the end it might be for the best, to kind of speak finally your truth and your mind, and come to the best possible decision. Maybe it's enough of making compromises, and finally, maybe instead of compromises, finding a consensus, the way that everyone will be equally satisfied and happy. So, my dear Capricorns, this is how I see March for you. I wish you an exciting and overall positive month, empowering one. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.